Ticked, zip wire, extensive leisure facilities and award-winning spa with exclusive indoor beach. 4-star luxury in a beautiful country resort. Choose a deluxe room or book a 4-star resort house, selecting from a wide range of exclusive spring offers. MountWolseley.ie, your perfect spring treat.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
And this is Off the Ball Saturday on News Talk. John Duggan with you through until 5. You can text us 53106. We're streaming the conversation as well. You can listen on News Talk. Also watch us on the digital and social channels for Periscope and Twitter at Off the Ball, YouTube, Facebook and on the OTB Sports app. Search OTB Sports, your app store to download it now for iOS and Android. Shane Hannon, our producer, back in studio with me. A few weeks ago we asked the listeners, off the basis of your revelations about your sporting collection, to text in about their autographs or the people they'd met or the memorabilia they have. Even some texts coming in today already. You can get involved with the conversation, folks. I met Diego Maradona in 2011, got him to sign an Argentina 1986 jersey, which is now hanging on my wall, says Paddy O'Brien. Hi, I've got the post-match official dinner menu signed by the Irish team after Brian O'Driscoll hat-trick in Paris in 2000. And before Euro 88... the Irish squad stayed at Finstown House, this is in Lucan, and Jack Charlton brought them to the Phoenix Park races on a Wednesday evening. As a very excited 12-year-old, I got the whole squad to sign my race card and held Jack's pint when he signed his autograph. Just some of the flavour of the messages we're receiving. Shane, this, for anybody watching this on the digital and social channels, this is incredible what we have in here. Just maybe explain some of the items you have here.
Yeah, for sure. It's a funny little hobby and a strange one that started when I was a kid, but certainly one that's brought me a lot of joy. Like nerd, being called a nerd, it's not the first time. I think Pat Kenny called me a nerd once on live radio as well. It was to do with the space documentary.
Why did you do this? Why did you do this?
Yeah, it started, I used to collect autographs at football matches. My dad and myself would stay behind after Ireland internationals at the old Lansdowne Road, and we'd get autographs off, all the greats, Kevin Kilbane, Kenny Cunningham, all these guys. So that kind of lit a fire in me, and I said, right, there's a market in this. I one day realised there is a market. I'm looking in front of me here, John, at average cost by athlete of the top 50 or so signatures in world sport. Like you have people like Federer down at 21, Cristiano Ronaldo at 20, Nadal's actually ahead of him at 18. You mentioned Maradona at 15, like $2,345 average price for a Maradona signature. Obviously these things depend, as we spoke before the ad break, on legitimacy. So you want a certificate of authenticity, generally speaking, from a massive autograph dealer. There are plenty of them around that really study these things and study handwriting patterns and that sort of thing over the years. You don't want it to be a secretarial, which means someone has basically got someone they know, a secretary, to forge it for them. You don't want it to be a preprint, which means it's just printed onto the page, or an auto pen done by a machine. So you want it to be legit. Obviously, if you get an autograph in person, many of which I've got myself in person, you'll know it's legit yourself, but you'll need the proof. Like one of the signatures here, we've got Michael Schumacher, which you'll see on screen there as well, if I can get the sheen away. He's on this list, number 16, $1,379 his signature is worth. It always depends on what he signed. So if you have a signed helmet from Michael Schumacher, it's obviously probably worth more money. These 3D items tend to do quite well. It's just a signed photograph, but it's still probably worth quite a portion of money.
Well, obviously it's very poignant now as well. Yeah.
And this is the thing, and it's kind of the somber thing about autograph collecting as well. The fact of the matter is, when someone becomes debilitated, like unfortunately Michael Schumacher has become, or when someone passes away, their signature obviously rises in value.
Have you ever had an interest in selling anything you have?
You know what? Not really. Like a couple of times it's dawned on me. I remember being at an autograph show when I was younger with my dad, and there were a number of Apollo astronauts there, so guys from the Apollo era who walked on or orbited the moon. And two members of the Apollo 15 crew were there. So this was the first mission to land on the moon with the lunar rover. Not one of the better known missions, but look, only 12 human beings have walked on the moon, so it was a big deal to me. And I had something signed by the other crew member who wasn't there, who was actually passed away. Got the other two to sign it. One of them was charging £95 sterling for a signature, the other £50 sterling. So I'm thinking in my head, right, paying £145 sterling for this. I've already paid £30 for the item already signed by the other guy, so I'm probably spending just over £200 sterling on this. It's a lot of money. But as soon as I got it signed, I had a dealer come over to me. I was only 15 at the time at this autograph show, and offered me upwards of £600-700 for it. So
that is unbelievable.
So I just spent the money on it, and because I had it signed by the other guy, that showed me this is an industry.
What would they be worth now under those autographs?
This is the thing. Like one of them is actually still alive, but the sad reality is when they pass away, the value will go up. And like I'm looking at this list, John, of the most illustrious athletes in terms of the price of their signature. Top 5, you have Tiger Woods, an average of $4,363. Muhammad Ali in 4th, $5,353. Babe Ruth, of course, in 3rd. Any baseball signed by Babe Ruth, any baseball bat signed by Babe Ruth, just does the business. And it's just, you see them pop up at Christie's and different auction houses across the world every so often. Anything signed by Babe Ruth is huge. Michael Jordan, number 2, $7,500, but way out in front, nearly $17,000. Kobe Bryant. And that, of course, would not have been the case only for the tragedy that befell Kobe Bryant, but that's the reality of the business, that when people pass away, autographs shoot up in value. You can probably see on the camera here different 3D items as well. I have a collection of snooker balls. So we've a red ball here signed by Stephen Hendry, 7-time world champion. We've, of course, a white ball you might see there as well, signed by Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's added the 147. And Jimmy White, pink ball signed by him as well. All of those I got in person. So I know they're legitimate.
I'm amazed how pure they are, and there's no kind of smudging or anything. They just look, they almost look printed on.
See, these guys are used to doing it. And this is the thing about 3D items as well. Boxing gloves signed by Ali, or moon. A lot of people, the Apollo astronauts, they get moon globes signed by them, actual globes of the moon. Not easy to sign on these items. And I've got autographs before that I've paid for that were smudged by the person you're paying good money for it, so you have to do it again at autograph shows. But it's just a fascinating industry, a fascinating business. I've got a few books here as well, John. Like, that's another industry that I think some people don't realise, that you could have books sitting at home that are first edition or limited edition books, especially first edition books. I remember being at an autograph signing with Jim Lovell, the Apollo 13 commander astronaut, played by Tom Hanks in the movie, and he signed the book for me. But every book he was signing, he was checking the inside pages to see was it a first edition. He would have bought the book off the person if it was a first edition. These first edition books are worth an absolute mint. So if you have any books at home you think might be a first edition book, I mean, check them out.
There's a bookshop off Grafton Street that has a lot of kind of first editions of Dracula and Ulysses, that kind of thing, doing it for hundreds of euros. Getting some text in here in 53106. Lads, a shirt signed by the Chelsea squad before the World Club final last week. Priceless, says Hugh in Cork. Hi lads, I managed to get a Roger Federer to sign one of his practice rackets for me at a clinic he ran. Sold it at a hospice fundraiser I ran my local tennis club for 2000. Thanks, says Alan. Lads have a signed certified Black United jersey signed by Eric Cantona, framed at home, says John. And this is funny. Back in the early 90s, Jimmy McGee did a roadshow with George Best and Dennis Law. Have autographs from all three. From Snaffle's nightclub in Kildare Town. Admission to the roadshow included entrance to the disco. Win-win. And I got the shift. Happy days, says Richard.
What a good
on
night.
53106.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like the items that you get, if they're 3D items, like for example, I have a Roger Federer signature on a photo. If you have a tennis racket signed by Roger Federer, all of a sudden it's worth more money. Eric Cantona on a red jersey is probably worth less money signed than the black jersey that the listener mentioned because of the Kung Fu kick. Like if you have a black jersey signed by Eric Cantona, that is the small thing that's going to make that jersey worth more money. Like some of the other autographs I have, I'll just run you through some of them. Like there's a lot of them related to sport, a lot of them aren't. Of course, the Michael Schumacher one means a lot to me, given what has happened. I have an interest in Formula 1 as well, and the fact that Michael Schumacher will never sign an autograph again, we know that. It makes it all the more poignant to me. I wrote to him in the mail. I think it was 2008 maybe, so 5 years before his accident. That's another one as well. You might be able to see on screen. It's quite small. Edmund Hillary, first man to climb Mount Everest, of course, with Tenzing Norgay in 1953. Just little things like that even spark an interest in other things for me. So like writing or getting that a signature, I think it was just before Edmund Hillary passed away in 2008 as well, if I'm not mistaken. That kind of sparked a little interest in mountaineering a little bit for me. You know that a couple of years ago I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. Like, it just sparks other things in my life. I probably wouldn't have climbed Kilimanjaro if I hadn't got that autograph 10 years ago.
That's amazing.
It just pops something in my head that gives me an interest. I start reading books on mountaineering, on Everest. But yeah, that Edmund Hillary signature. I'm still on the lookout for a Tenzing signature as well. There's plenty doing the rounds on eBay. You just have to be careful to buy the right ones. And legitimate ones as well.
Does it mean more if you get it in person with somebody you've met rather than getting something that you've, say, written to request?
I think so. Like, some things mean a lot. I remember I told you before on the show that Martin Sheen wrote me a long letter back. You know, like I sent him a letter. I kind of had a template. I'll admit it now on national radio. I used to send off letters to all these celebrities. And I kind of had a template to whoever, insert name here. I am your biggest fan. I loved you in insert films here, Apocalypse Now, West Wing, whatever. And they would have of course, their ego was fed, they would write back. Martin Sheen wrote me a lovely letter back talking about his mother, Mary-Ann Phelan from Borrisokane, County Tipperary, and studying in NUI Galway and all these sorts of things. So it's amazing that the relationships that opens up. I mean, even one of the relationships, speaking of those, this woman, you'll see her on screen, Milvina Dean, not related to sport, of course, but she was the last survivor of the Titanic disaster.
Wow.
So she wrote there at the bottom, to Shane, best wishes from Milvina Dean. Wrote to her in 2009, I think. Her last Christmas then, just out of the blue, she sends me this. So you'll see the robin in the front. There's a couple of little Titanic cards falling out of it as well that she signed. But she just sends me a Christmas card, to Shane from Milvina, which now means a lot, you know.
That's mad.
Because she was the youngest person on board. She was the baby on board the Titanic. She was looked after by all the people working on board the ship, and apparently she was the dote of the ship. And her father passed away on board, and herself and her brother and her mother luckily survived. But to have those, she died the following year. And now looking back, to have those little relationships that opened up as a result of autographs was huge. One other one, like the first ones ever, and means a lot to me, was Franz Beckenbauer. So of course the West German legend, wrote to him. That was the first autograph I ever got in the post.
Okay.
So I sent off to Franz Beckenbauer in Germany, sent those back, and and that just kind of sparked something. I said, right.
Are you convinced they're real?
Well, you see, I will have done research on them. You can study the handwriting patterns. So
Okay.
some people's signatures, you see some people's signatures. Like, I'm trying to pick out a couple of examples here. Like, there's a few actors, for example. You have Roger Moore, probably an easy enough signature to copy, but I've done the research on that. Tom Hanks again, reasonably easy to copy. But someone like Matt Damon, I mean,
Wasn't a Dalkey, was it? No.
it wasn't a Dalkey, but I've done that research into that, and that is Matt Damon's signature, but it's quite easy to copy. It's kind of squiggles.
yeah.
Same with Donald Trump. You mentioned I have Donald Trump's signature at home as well, but some signatures are quite easy to copy. There's Peter Falk, of course.
Columbo.
Lieutenant Columbo.
Oh my God, how'd you get that?
That was actually purchased on eBay after he had passed away. So there's different dealers that kind of sell these autographs. And
How much was that cost?
that was actually not that bad. I think it's maybe, I say not that bad, probably 40 quid.
Okay.
Which, relatively
It's
speaking.
a fascinating business. 53106. I've got a golf hat signed by both Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods on the same hat. Any estimate for that?
That's worth a lot of money.
Right.
That's worth a lot of money. Look after that.
I've got a signed Brazil jersey by Ronaldo, Pele, Kaká, Roberto Carlos and Ronaldinho on the one jersey. Not sure if they're real, but it's framed and it's sitting on my wall, says Michael on 53106. I'm just interested in front of me here. I see the programme for the 1983, the 12 Apostles final, Dublin and Galway in the football final.
Yeah, some of these, and that's the other thing as well. Like programmes, I remember getting Michael Donlan's signature. My dad's from Dunmore McHale's legend, of course, Michael Donlan. I got him to sign a programme years ago, and that was first time I met a hero. That's someone I really, really looked up to. But it's kind of led into me hoarding other stuff. So as well as autographs, I have so many programmes. I have programmes from every game I've been at, that my dad's been at. My dad's a Galway man, so obviously he was at that 1983.
50p the programme cost.
It's unbelievable. But I just love flicking through them every now and again. You've even got like just some of the advertisements in them. I mean, it's retro as you like. 50p. You've got Lifestyle Sports, the most retro Lifestyle Sports advertisement you'll ever see. But if you just read through them, you get so many little tidbits of information and stuff. Like there's one from a Manchester United match against Blackburn Rovers. My dad was at in 1997. Hand signed on the front by David Beckham in purple. Dad got that signed by Beckham himself. Of course, the 1998, that was that famous Galway team. 1998 final as well.
Kildare, yeah, in the final.
Against Kildare. And then another one, a great one. Like there's loads of these in my house that Dad picked up over the years that I just love. Pat Jennings testimonial. So you've Pat Jennings Select versus International 11, Wednesday, December 3rd, 1980. What date is on it? 86 at Windsor Park. And I mean, you look inside at the teams and some of the advertisements as well inside. But I mean, you've got on our own Mark Lawrenson playing for the International 11. You've got Peter Shilton, Ray Clements, Jimmy Nicholl, Jan Molby, Glenn Hoddle, Dalgleish, Whiteside, Houghton, Aldridge, all these guys on the International 11, and people on Pat Jennings' team like George Dunlop, Nigel Worthington, Peter Reid, Paul McGrath, Ozzy Ardiles, Ian Rush, George Best. Like, just really, really interesting bits. And I think there's probably something in that. Like, people who collect autographs probably collect programmes as well. You're probably someone who keeps your programmes as well.
I only keep the big programmes.
Okay.
I'm a tickets person. Keep all the tickets from All Ireland's and everything major that I've been to. A part of me, though, autographs for me, unless I have a connection with the person.
Yeah.
Just to me, sometimes you can almost have a view that it's just a signature on a piece of paper.
Yes.
Are you a little bit more? Have you changed your view since you were younger?
Yeah, I don't really collect autographs now. Don't get me wrong. If Barack Obama walked past me tomorrow, I'd I'd probably ask for his autograph. But it would take a certain level of person. Like, I guess when you work in media, it's a professionalism thing as well. You don't want to be asking people for their autographs in person. But it's nice to have the collection, and like it's kind of turned a lot these days. A lot of people just get the photograph, the selfie. Kids these days don't really want it. You see at football matches constantly in the Premier League now. Little kids holding up, "Can I please have your shirt, Ronaldo," or whatever. They want the items. They don't care about the signature. They want a photograph. They want a piece of that person. Some people used to see autographs as getting a piece of that person, and a nice way of memorialising something that they have or something that they're interested in. Like there's George Foreman, and when it's personalised as well. So to Shane, when they write to Shane, it means more to me, and it will mean more to me in the future. But it takes away from the value a little bit. If you're going to resell that, it's obviously diminished the value slightly, the fact that it says to Shane. So,
well, the most prized one I have, and he's very sadly passed away, was Tony Keady. Did a good bit of work with us, and came into Marconi House, and out of the blue he brought a hurl with him, because he made them out in Oranmore, and he signed it to John, keep up the great work, Tony Keady. And this is the most prized thing I have, because he's a lovely man. I knew him, and a great guy, hurler of the year for Galway, and just a lovely gentleman. Certainly somebody I still think about,
Yeah, of course. And it does mean more. Like, even I have a book at home to Tom, my granddad Tom, signed by Jack Charlton, Jack Charlton's World Cup diary from 1990. And those things probably mean more to me. Like, you've got loads of things. They often write little messages as well. Like, Greg Norman went to a bit of effort, the golfer. Shane attacked life and drew a little golf hole as well with the flag, with the pin, as you can see. So some people put in the effort. I mentioned Leslie Nielsen, the great actor from Airplane and the Naked Gun movies as well. Met him in 2010, it was, just before he passed away. Shane, don't call me Shirley, the famous quote from the Airplane movies. And I've got his the Naked Gun films as well, signed by Leslie Nielsen there as well. So it really is great. Like, you've got Jimmy White, you've got Ronnie O'Sullivan. I mean, this is probably only about 1%, John, of my collection, but certainly, and I mentioned the Fenway dirt as well, little things like that just bring sport alive for you. Boston Red Sox were doing up their stadium and kind of collecting little bits of the dirt and sending them off to fans if they emailed them, and I was one of them. So little pieces like that. I mentioned the books as well. If you can get signed books, that was a book, an excellent book I'd urge anyone to read. The Holocaust survivor who lives in Ireland, Dublin man, Tommy Reichenthal. I was a boy in Belsen. Interviewed him for a few hours when I was writing for the college newspaper in UCD years ago, and signed the inside of the book for me. If you can get books signed, like there's a book signed by Robert O'Neill, the guy who fired the shots that killed Osama bin Laden, the US Navy SEAL.
Unbelievable stuff, it's Shane. Just unbelievable.
Touche and Hannon never quit, Rob O'Neill. And then you've got Buzz Aldrin as well, of course, mentioned as a space geek. So plenty of signed bits. And if you can go to book signings and get books signed, it will undoubtedly increase the value. So I would urge anyone listening in who just hears about book signings in Dublin or wherever, go to them and get them signed.
Fantastic, Shane. Thanks so much for bringing all that memorabilia in. Some text here on 53106. I've got a signed jersey of the entire Irish 1994 World Cup squad plus management and tickets for all the games. Arthur. I got all the old snooker players' autographs when they played at Goffs. Alex Higgins, Jimmy White, Tony Mayo, Cliff Thorburn, many more. Alex always signed it. Love Alex, says Eugene Williams. I've got a painting and a signature of Henry Hill from Goodfellas. I've got a match ball from the first Rugby World Cup in 1987 signed by Sean Fitzpatrick and David Campese. I've got a 1985 FA Cup final programme signed by Kevin Moore, and the first man to be sent off in an FA Cup final. So some of the stuff from our listeners
even
there.
Behind you there in studio, like, listeners might not be able to see it, but in certain angles you'll see it. The ball, the World Cup 2002 squad members in South Korea and Japan for Ireland were given those wooden kind of memorabilia balls signed by every single member of the squad. I think that's Kevin Kilban's version. So really, really good stuff.
And just to finish, hi lads, he had a few pints of Richie McCaw in his home club Christchurch. I was playing with the third team at the time. He was holding a press conference after being named All Blacks captain on a permanent basis. Shared a pint, chatted about the Ireland squad, how much he loved Dublin for a night out. Signed a training jersey for me. It's now framed with a pic of us having a drink in the clubhouse. Great memory. 2006, Nile in Donabate. Shane Hannon, thanks so much for coming in with a brilliant memorabilia, and you can check it out, folks, on our YouTube channel. We're going to be back after the break with Pillar Caffrey and Máire-Treasa reviewing the sporting week. Let you know it's West Ham 1, Newcastle 1 in the Premier League. Off the Ball is back after the news.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Start something at UCD Professional Academy. Start expanding your skills with the choice of over 40 short, sharp professional courses. From leadership, people and project management to data analytics, coding and graphic design. Start with flexible study options to fit around your busy life and start feeling empowered and inspired to take on your next challenge. Search UCD Professional Academy and start something new for 2022. UCD Professional Academy. Never stop progressing.
Which is why this collaboration...
Oh, hello?
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry, you're breaking up there.
Am I hear me?
No, you're gone. I can't.
Connection troubles? If you run a business, you need reliable broadband to help you grow, not hold you back. Vodafone Business Broadband, with always connected technology, business level care, and walkout working installation guarantee, ensures your business stays connected. Drop into your local Vodafone store today and ask your business advisor. Vodafone. Together we can. For full terms, visit vodafone.ie/terms/business.
At Tesco, we're always looking for ways to make shopping easy for everyone. That's why we're giving one lucky customer the chance to win a brand new Nissan Qashqai. To enter, simply complete your first shop with click and collect on tesco.ie by March 6th. There's never been a better time to shop online. Book your free slot today. Tesco. Every little helps. Terms and conditions apply. Competition open to first-time click and collect shoppers only. Purchase required. Open to Irish residents aged over 18. Offer valid only until the 6th of March. For full terms and conditions, see tesco.ie.
Get 5% off VHI First Care plans and unlock a wide range of healthcare services when you buy online and start your policy between November 25th, 2021 and March 31st, 2022. Search VHI 5% to join today. Terms and conditions apply. VHI Healthcare DAC trading as VHI Healthcare is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
1 in 5 men surveyed in Ireland regularly experience erectile dysfunction. All sorts of men in all walks of life. But you can do something about that.